What's going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. We've got Prismatic Evolutions booster bundles coming out super soon, so make sure you keep an eye on those. And there's so much going on in the sealed market right now. We're going to do a full analysis of everything going on with Sword and Shield, Ultra Modern, what I recommend the best buys are, whether you're in the US or the UK. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's get into it. Okay, so first thing we got to talk about today is Prismatic Evolutions booster bundles are coming out in just under 2 weeks time. I think it's very unlikely you're going to see any out in the wild. If you've got pre-orders, great. Me, myself, I haven't been able to secure any pre-orders, but it is worth noting that March 7th is the official release of the Prismatic Evolutions booster bundles, so it is possible that you may see some out in the wild. If you do, for at or near to retail price, it's an instant pickup. It's a no-brainer at all, so keep an eye on that. It might be worth like researching with some of your local card stores or big box retailers. Sometimes they do like pretty good deals where they will let you like have one per customer if you like queue up beforehand, that kind of thing. If there's that kind of arrangement in your area, then there is a possibility that you may be able to pick some of these up for retail. It's such an in-demand set. It's the most recent set, and it will be the most cost-effective pack-to-cost ratio way of getting Prismatic Evolutions, because it is a holiday or speciality set, which means there are no bigger booster boxes of it. It's either this, the collection boxes like the poster or binder collections, or the Elite Trainer boxes. So if you can find some booster bundles out in the wild, March 7th is the day that they're officially released. I think it's very unlikely that you'll find them, but it's worth being aware of anyway to keep an eye out for. Let's have a look at stock levels for the Pokemon Center US then. If you're new to the channel, I compare both the US and UK markets, as we can often draw some similarities between them and learn and help that to shape our predictions on what's going forward. This is not edited at all. When I showed the Pokemon Center US last week, I had someone in the comments saying that I wasn't showing the full Pokemon Center. This is it, guys. Literally all I've done, I'll show you. I've gone on to trading card game, booster packs. Everything else is sold out, and all I've done is just ticked at the very bottom here, availability in stock. Yes, there is literally one product in stock. We're talking no single packs, no collection boxes, no theme decks, no nothing. We literally just have Temporal Forces booster box. Now, out of all of the booster boxes that could be available, Temporal Forces is not a bad one. If you're looking at picking up Ultra Modern for retail from the official source, then Temporal Forces is not a bad play for that price. If you're going to buy it, you will have to put it away for a couple of years until it really goes out of print window, definitely. Usually it's around about 2 years after a set release, but we have been known to see some sets get reprinted 2.5 years later, 2 3/4 years later. I remember probably like end of Sun and Moon, we got a really late like Cosmic Eclipse reprint, which was well outside of the expected print window, but then that's not really hurt it in the long term. Everything heals out in the long term. Time is your friend with keeping sealed products. But yeah, Temporal Forces is the only thing in stock, and it really speaks to how the market is at the moment. We are right at the start of a boom cycle. I expect this boom to last for at least 12 months, realistically 18 months plus. It could go much longer. This could be the biggest boom we've ever seen up until this point. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Scarlet and Violet, even from myself and my own perspective, I think when it first came out, we were all a bit like, it's not as good as Sword and Shield. But I think in time, people are starting to appreciate Scarlet and Violet. And I think as it goes out of print and as we start to move probably in 2026 into the next era, I think we're really going to look back at Scarlet and Violet and really appreciate it more with time. So Temporal Forces, I would say, is probably, let's think about it, I'd say it's probably top 4 maybe top 5 sets of Scarlet and Violet. Obviously, we haven't seen the end of Scarlet and Violet yet, but I'd be quite confident that it would finish sort of top 5, top 6 out of the era. So I think it's going to do quite well. I'd probably compare it to, I don't know, maybe like a Brilliant Stars or maybe like a Silver Tempest going forward. Now, I know that might sound silly now because there's a lot of it available and you're like, oh no, the hits and the chases are so much better, the alt arts from Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest are so much better. But I think in time people are really going to appreciate Temporal Forces. I think it is a really decent set. Let's have a look at the UK Pokemon Center then. Again, very similar. We got 2 booster boxes in stock, Paradox Rift and Temporal Forces. I much prefer Temporal Forces than Paradox Rift, and I actually feel like Temporal Forces is one of the shortest printed sets so far out of all of Scarlet and Violet, so I think it will do really well long term. And I think people's focus is just like on some of the other bigger sets, and sometimes those that means that less people put them away, and over the long term, in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years time, I think you're going to be a lot less likely to see Temporal Forces for sale, which will make it more volatile in price and more likely to rise up in price. Let's take an example of that, okay? So we have something like Rebel Clash or Darkness Ablaze from Sword and Shield era. They're not the most popular sets, but they're doing quite well price-wise just because no one put them away. Because no one thought to put them away because they weren't super desirable at the time when they came out. They're still not, to be honest. But yeah, very interesting. We've got a few other products available. We've got some Build and Battle Brilliant Stars. Actually not a bad play because you get 2 Build and Battle kits inside, which each have 4 booster packs in of Brilliant Stars. Plus you get like a promo in each one as well, like a stamp, sort of almost like staff pre-release card with the Brilliant Stars stamp on it, which is pretty cool. Plus, I think in this Build and Battle Stadium, they actually give you extra packs on top of these as well. So I think in total you get 12 packs of Brilliant Stars in this for £60, which actually isn't that bad. And people never think of these Build and Battle Stadiums as a play, but there are 12 booster packs in there. So how much was it? 60 divided by 12. Right, so we're at £5 a pack. Not bad for Brilliant Stars, to be honest. Definitely more of like a niche play, but a play nonetheless, and this is what this channel is all about. If I see a play, I'll let you guys know. I'm not keeping it all to myself. I will let you guys know. We got some Pokemon Go product. I don't know if this is like reprints of stuff or not, but interesting. We got some milk cartons. These are decent. The booster bundles, decent pack to cost ratio. You got Temporal Forces for below retail as well. I think retail is like £25, but those are £23.94. So maybe on a little bit of sale, maybe I'm wrong on that. But yeah, Temporal Forces, that's a cheap way to buy into it, and it's decent. Shrouded Fable has been going up in price a little bit. Obviously, we've got cards like the Persian, the Houndoom, stuff like that, which have been doing some numbers recently. I would be cautious about buying into Shrouded Fable, though, because it wasn't that much of a popular set, and now some of the singles are going up in price. I'm just very cautious around it. I don't like Shrouded Fable as a set. Long term, I think it could do all right, but just be cautious with Shrouded Fable. I'd much rather buy into some Temporal Forces if I was going to buy in to something ultra modern for retail. You also got some 3-pack blisters of Temporal, which is, Paradox Rift, which is not a bad deal. And we've got some generic, like random single blister packs here. But all in all, guys, not much stock worldwide of anything, really. We've got 2 booster boxes in stock in the UK, and you've got 1 in the US. And it's crazy in the US that you've got nothing else. You've got no collection boxes, no blister packs, nothing. Alright, it's a boom. People are just buying up anything they can get. I wouldn't even be surprised, actually, if Temporal Forces sells out soon on Pokemon Center US. And if they don't have more stock of anything coming soon, you're going to have 0 in the booster pack section. No stock, which I've never seen before. So yeah, an interesting time in the market. Let's start doing an analysis of some products then. We'll start off with the big boys in Sword and Shield, and then we'll have a little look at some ultra modern and some other like weird niche plays that are going on at the moment. Let's have a look at Evolving Skies. over the last couple of weeks, we've been really talking about how the market has just cooled off a little bit and consolidated a little bit. I think we're reaching a point now in the market. Let me just zoom in a little bit on the 1 month chart. I think we're getting to a point now where we had the all-time highs mid-January, end of January, and it's cooled off a little bit. I think we're at the bottom now. I don't think it's going to get any cheaper from this point. The reason why it cooled off is because we had so much hype around new sets coming out in Ultra Modern, so some people just shifted their focus on that. It just meant that there was more people dumping than people buying, which just made it consolidate down in price a little bit. It's really not dropped that much though. I mean, all-time high on Evolving Skies, look at that, it's like what, 1382 average price, and then last sale is 1350, so we're like 32 bucks off of the all-time high. Really not that much at all. And as we go through the other sets, you'll see what I mean. I think we had the little dip over the last month or so, and I think that's it. I think we're at the basement of that dip. This is the cheapest you're ever going to get these Sword and Shield sets. I'd be really surprised if any of these dip any further. Really surprised. I think they're just going to either flatline for another few weeks, and then they're going to start climbing up again. But I always say to people that if you're going to buy into something, particularly this late in its growth cycle, like if you're going to buy into Evolving Skies when it's already, I mean, what, nearly 10x what it was at retail, you need to be prepared to hold it for the long haul. Okay, you're going to see dips and rises and stuff like that. If you buy Evolving Skies now and keep it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, a little dip of like 5%, 6% now is going to mean nothing, because I think you're going to be up potentially 2x, 3x, 4x what you're putting in now. It's all about the long haul, guys. Don't get caught up in the details of what's going on week. If there's a dip for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it really means nothing. Like, look, you see this dip here? Okay, let's zoom out to the year chart. We're like that. We're up 136%, and that's on something that was already way over retail. So don't worry about it. Market's cooled off a little bit over the last couple of weeks, but it does look to me now like everything's kind of stopped dropping and we're flatlining now, which is really positive, and I think the only way is up for these sets. Does mean you can still get some deals on eBay though. Last sold on Evolving Skies. Buy it now in the US, $1,200. We were seeing some of those go for around about the $1,400 mark, peaking around there a few weeks ago. So you're getting a decent discount on that of around $200 from the all-time high. Last sold in the UK, we're back up to over $1,000. All in for 1,064 last sale. Here's one for 1,025, and then you saw some like sub 1,000 a few days ago and last week. So we're climbing back up to over the £1,000 mark. I think that Evolving Skies is still massively undervalued. I think it should shoot back up to that $1,400 range and £1,200 range that it's already hit, and I think even at that point it's still undervalued. It is, in my opinion, the best set that's come out in the last 10 years, and I think that it's going to take a lot for another set to knock it off of its throne. I think Prismatic Evolutions is trying, but I don't think it really stacks up in the long term against Evolving Skies, but we'll see going forward. The Elite Trainer boxes are still sat there at around about the same pack to cost ratio. So last sold $250 in the US. It's a decent way to buy into Evolving Skies without having to shell out $1,000. Pack to cost ratio is 31.25, but then if you take the $1,200 booster box, it's $33. So Elite Trainer box is looking a bit cheap right now. In no way should the Elite Trainer box pack to cost ratio ever be more or be less than the booster box. The booster box should always be sort of better value for money than the Elite Trainer box, in my opinion. So it looks to me, that tells me two things. One, the booster box is undervalued, and two, the Elite Trainer box is, Yeah, well, they're both undervalued, actually. But the Elite Trainer box is particularly undervalued because it's cheaper pack to cost ratio, splitting into that and getting packs than the big booster box, is what I was trying to say. This is, as we're moving on to Fusion Strike, this is exactly what I was saying. Everything's just sort of flatlining now. I don't think we're going to see any more drops. It's really healthy that Fusion Strike is just sitting flat. Last week it was averaging around about $448, and now you're seeing last sales 444, 441, 440. We talk about less than a 1% swing either way. Really, really tight margins on it, which is a positive thing. Usually asset classes and stocks and shares and that kind of thing, if we're treating Pokemon like that, which I do with sealed product, if you use that as a comparison, this is called price consolidation, and usually the charts get really tight and the swing between buy and sell gets really tight right before it explodes up in price, just because it means that the accepted selling price and the accepting buying price are like almost exactly the same, which means as soon as you have like a run on product, boom, it just like shoots up in price. And you've got to remember as well, all of these things are out of print now, so there's no more supply going onto the market. And with rip and ship culture at the moment being how it is, they're getting ripped every single day. The supply of Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, all of these booster boxes are getting less and less and less every day on the open market. And do you know what? It's not something that you have to like monitor every week. You can just tune into my channel. I'll tell you exactly what's going on. But the real key is to buy these kind of products and just sit on them. Set it and forget it. If you want to display them, great. I'd display some Elite Trainer boxes behind me. I don't put my super expensive ones behind me. I haven't got anything major expensive. But for example, like my booster boxes, I keep them all away sealed and nice. I just put them in a big storage container. I put lots of like moisture control silica gel packs in there as well, so I can keep them all nice. I check on them every once in a while, and they're just airtight in there. They don't see the light of day, so I know there's not going to be any sun fading or anything like that, and they're just kept mint. And it's so nice to just set and forget it and then see what's going on with the prices. And it's just brilliant. I'll give you an example. So I actually had an Elite Trainer box in my collection that I forgot I had. I was digging through it the other day in the archives. I found a Hidden Fates Elite Trainer box in the bottom there, all sealed, all minty. I checked my notes because I keep a note of whatever I buy everything for. I bought it for £85 a few years ago. I forgot I even had it, and now they're doing bits on the market. Hidden Fates is shooting up in price for the Elite Trainer box. We'll have a look at that in a moment. And yeah, set it and forget it is the best way. Be willing to hold stuff for a little while. Last sold Fusion Strike $415 on a auction. However, buy it now, $500. That is the highest I've ever seen Fusion Strike sell for. So that is an all-time high for Fusion Strike. So although it looks like the market is cooling off, look, peak of the market, $490 average. That's the highest I've ever seen it go for. On a buy it now, that was literally yesterday, $500 for Fusion Strike. And then look at the difference in price. Look, same day on an auction, $415. So $85 swing each way between an auction and a buy it now. That tells me a couple of things. One, people are FOMOing in to Fusion Strike because they'll pay $500. They'll pay like all-time high prices just to get it now on a buy it now. And it also tells me that there are deals to be had out there on auctions at the moment. Look at that. $85 is a decent swing. That's, what's that? 85 is like 11%, 12%, I'm guessing. Let's calculate it out and we'll see how close I am. I'm guessing 12%. So $85 off of 415 divided by 415 times 100. How close was I? Oh, it's a 20% rise. That's crazy. Oh yeah, of course it is. Sorry. I don't know why I said 12%. That was bad, really bad maths. Yeah, 20% rise. We'll just forget that all happened. Auctions, there's a lot of deals to be had right now. Fusion Strike last sold in the UK guys, it's so cheap right now. Okay, in the US, it's selling for all-time high $500. Look at this auction, £322, and you get an acrylic case. These acrylic cases are like £20 anyway, so it's like 300 quid for a sealed Fusion Strike booster box. Really, really cheap. I think Fusion Strike is going to have a great year. In my opinion, it's the second best set in Sword and Shield, closely followed by Lost Origin that we'll move on to now. Lost Origin, you can see, look, we had that dip in price come down, and now we're starting to climb back up. We're starting to climb back up and stabilize. Last week was $352 average. Last sale's $385. So we're talking about like a $32 price rise over the last 7 days, which is, come on, let's calculate it out because my maths is bad today. 32 divided by, what was the last figure? 344 divided by 344 times 100. 9.3%. Lost Origin is up over the last 7 days, which is really positive for it. I think Lost Origin is massively undervalued, especially when Fusion Strike is selling for like 500 a box. 385 for Lost Origin is pretty decent. I think it should be up there around about the $500 a box range as well, minimum right now. Last sold in the UK, 345. You could pick some of these up a few weeks ago for sub 300, like 280, and I was screaming at people to buy them. I don't know what this one is here, like one bid, $110. I don't think that actually shipped for that price, but there you go. 345 last sale, 356 as well. And these are auctions too. I think Lost Origin is massively underpriced right now. The Giratina is doing bits in a PSA 10. Let's talk about Crown Zenith then. You might notice behind me I've got a new Crown Zenith box. I've been buying into Crown Zenith quite a bit over the last week or so. I've got another one on the way. I'm probably going to buy more too. Crown Zenith is really starting to move. We saw a bit of a jump up in price over the last month or so. Over the last 3 months it's up 78%, and over the last month it's up 8%. I think we're only just starting to see Crown Zenith get started. Crown Zenith, I think, is one of the best sets there's ever been, like ever. I think it's up there. I wouldn't put it better than Evolving Skies, but I think it's really up there, and I think it's massively undervalued. I think you get 10 packs in the Elite Trainer box as well, so we're looking at around about, what, if it's 117, that's nearly $12 a pack, which is definitely quite an increase in price recently. But I think it's got a lot more room to grow. So yeah, $117 last sold for the Elite Trainer box. On eBay, $102. We're seeing lots of bundles here. $110, $112, $102, $126. I think, so if Sword and Shield does get any more reprints, which I think is very, very unlikely, by the way, it will be on Crown Zenith. Because Crown Zenith is the last set, and they just loved printing Crown Zenith into the ground. It really didn't hurt it, though. Like, Crown Zenith is one of the heaviest printed Sword and Shield sets there's ever been, and it really didn't hurt the price at all, which really speaks volumes about how strong it is. We looked at it a few weeks ago. If you scroll back through the channel, I did a full breakdown on Crown Zenith. We looked at all the singles, all the PSA stuff, so if you're interested, go check that out. That's definitely worth a watch. But Crown Zenith is one of my picks that's going to have a really good year over the next 12 months. I think it's going to really shine, and I think this is the cheapest you're ever going to get it. $110 I think is a decent price, and there's a lot around for that price point as well. But I don't think it'll last that price. I think they're all going to get bought up by people like me. I'm basically just buying like one a week at the moment, and trying to not overpay, but just keeping an eye. I'm paying around about £115 each on UK eBay, and you can see that here. Last sold 105 all in, no photos. Be careful because you want a minty seal on it. It's a little bit of an older product now, so I would always go for one with photos and good feedback. I'd rather pay, to be honest, an extra £10 just to be able to see photos and make sure I've got a nice minty one. Another one here for 115, one selling for 120, 110. Oh my gosh, I love this as well. This is not a smart investment move, I don't think. But for a collection piece, I do really want the Elite Trainer Box Plus of the Crown Zenith. I just think it looks amazing. Really cool product with the black and gold. I think they did really well on this packaging. I really want it as a collection piece, but I can't justify paying £208 for a Elite Trainer Box, personally. I would love one, but I don't need it in my collection. That's my collector's head speaking over my investor head. Maybe I'll buy one in the future, but I think they'll go up in price too. Hidden Fates, this is what I was talking about earlier, so I forgot that I had a Hidden Fates Elite Trainer Box sealed in the back. I'm thinking about selling it, actually, because it's gone up a decent amount in price. Do I think it will go up in price more? Yes. But because I kind of like forgot that I had it, and I'm really not that bothered, I'm not even displaying it, I don't really care that it's in my collection. I paid not much for it. I paid around about that £80 range, if I remember rightly. So £80. They're going now on UK eBay for like $250. I'm thinking about selling it and just buying into Crown Zenith. So selling my Elite Trainer Box of Hidden Fates and getting 2 Crown Zenith in its place, just because although I'm pointing out now that Hidden Fates is a play and it's going up in value, I feel like Crown Zenith, having 2 of them, it would gain quicker in value than a Hidden Fates Elite Trainer Box, and I think I'd just rather have more Crown Zenith. But that's just personal opinion, and on this channel, you know, it's all about making your own opinion, and I'm just here to point out plays when I see them, and Hidden Fates is definitely a play right now. It's up 30% in the last 3 months. It's really starting to move. In the last month, it's up 11%. You're not getting any more of it. It's never going to get more reprints. It's a Sun and Moon set as well. Last sale, $239. But you can see the difference in price. Look, it was like $225 here, and then you got one for going for like $254, $260, $267, $268. Like, I'm telling you, people will FOMO into this over the next couple of months. I think Hidden Fates is going to do well. Me personally, though, I think I'm going to sell mine pretty soon. Maybe when it hits like the 300 mark, I'll probably sell mine, because then I've more than 3x'd on it, and I'll just buy some more Crown Zenith or something, or maybe some Paldean Fates. This is one of my favourite cards that's in the Hidden Fates set. This is the Charizard GX, which is really going up in price as well. PSA 10 selling now for nearly $1,000, which is kind of crazy. I think that's an all-time high for it. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, $950, $1,000. I think it's one of the nicest Charizard cards there is. Me personally, I just can't justify spending $1,000 on a slab, but some people do, and that's why Hidden Fates is shooting up in price. In fact, all of the Hidden Fates singles and PSA cards seem to be rising quite a bit at the moment, at least the chase cards. Let's go back onto our analysis then. We got a bit sidetracked. Astral Radiance, flat week basically, no change in price. Still just looks super cheap though. $239 last sold in the US, $250. Just looks super cheap for an out of print Sword and Shield set. In the UK, it's just stupid cheap as well. £180, $190 all in. Like, anything sub 200 on Astral Radiance is just a crazy bargain in my opinion. Decent set. And we're just going to whiz through a few of the other sets, just because, again, it's similar story to everything else. We're just seeing a bit of a flat line, no reduction in price really. Chilling Rain has gone from 317-ish average to... See, this is where TCG Player can be a bit off, because it's like on the chart, it's like, oh yeah, it's flatlining, but then last sale, 334. And 334 is actually like $8 away from its all-time high, so it's really not dipped that much. Chilling Rain, Chilling Rain is a good set. I think it's a decent play. Last sold $310, and we're just going to zip through the other ones that are just showing flat or like 5% swings either way, just because it's really nothing. Brilliant Stars, flatlined. Last sales $289. I think it's got a lot of room to grow as well. But I think with like Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest particularly, those two sets are ones that we really just need to zoom out. If I was going to buy into more Brilliant Stars or Silver Tempest now, I think it is a really good play and they've got a lot of room to grow, but I would definitely have a long horizon on them. I think that their gains over the next 6 months are going to be average, but then when you zoom out to like 2 years, 3 years, I think they're going to look really good. Silver Tempest, similar. We had the drop down in price. We had a pretty quick bounce back. The lower priced sets always have a quicker bounce back. So it's really positive to see not only did it bounce back, last week it was at like 236. Last sales, let's filter this out, photos. Last sales, 241, another 241, 2 for 243. It just looks cheap, guys. It's a cheap time to pick this up. We've got a higher all-time high. In fact, their all-time high was like 245. So we're $2 off. We're 1% away from the all-time high. Nothing to worry about. Yes, the market cooled a little bit over the last couple of weeks, but I think we've seen the end of it. And then to finish off, we're going to look at something a little bit niche. I don't usually look at sort of UPCs and ultra premium collections, mainly because I don't like storing them myself. I do love the Charizard UPC. I might buy one for my own collection, but it's really starting to move in price. The promos are starting to move in price that are in it as well, and you just get really good value. You get so many packs in there as well. I don't know if it tells me how many packs are in there. Yeah, 16 booster packs in there, and it's such a range of packs. There's Evolving Skies in there as well. So all these other sets, Fusion Strike 2, all these other sets that are like going up in price, just really does help influence the price of the ultra premium collection, and it's just shooting up in price. I think it's going to have a good year too. Out of all the ultra premium collections, I do really like the Charizard one. They're just such a pain to A, store unless you're going to display it, and B, shipping it. Shipping it is such a pain because it's quite bulky and it's quite big, but maybe that's just me moaning. Let's have a look at sales then, because it has gone up a decent amount. Over the last month it's up 17%, and I think it's just going to continue. Over the last 3 months it's up 24% apparently, but the graph is going a bit funny. Last week it was averaging, let's see, 243, and now we've got last sales 265, 239, 260, a bit all over the place, but definitely an increase in price over the last week. Keep an eye on the Charizard Ultra Premium collection. I've always said to you guys that I'll point out opportunities when I see them. This is one of those opportunities, even though it's a little bit niche. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss those opportunities. I'll always keep you updated on all the news, on like new releases and everything coming out as well. Hit me up on Instagram as well if you want to have a chat or come say hi, at PokePond1, and I sometimes list what I'm buying on there as well. Hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.